All right, guys, it's 3:30 in the morning. I'm still sick, but I managed to lift up the Hustler YB TV and lean it up against the house and put one of the hats on it and lift it back up and put it into its bottom mount, which is a little bit sketchy. So we're going to see if we have any improvement. Let's try right here. Yeah, nothing. What are we looking at? What's the bottom of 15 meters? 21,100 to 21,450. That section might be just too long. I don't know. My other antenna works fine with the same ground radios. So tomorrow I might just actually put up the other one, take this one apart. Okay, let's try. Let's go up to 10. So we can see how it was. There's no improvement. I probably need to tighten the base of it too. Okay. So that's how 14 was. And it was lower than that before I raised it. So it's worse now all the way around. It was like really flat without the capacity hat. Okay. The only thing I think is I have this thing like really close to the side of the house so that I can anchor it to the eaves. And it's probably not good. Okay. It'd be nice if I could mount it to the chimney. I don't think it would survive around here mounted to the chimney, though. These antennas are kind of flexy, just even when you move them. So that's how that band was. So now we have a little bit of a dip. Will it tune? Yeah, the 7300 should tune the entire band. Okay. Let's see how it affected 80. It scooted it a little higher up, I think. Okay. So we raised the bottom section up, and now 40 looks really good. So I'm guessing is that the 40 meter section needs to be moved up, and the bottom section needs to be moved back down, from based on what I can tell. Now this band I don't expect to do very good no matter what. This one is really fiddly. Even in the best case scenario, you're still going to be 3-to-1 almost. With very little bandwidth. It's not really an antenna you should even care about using 80 for. It's like a ham stick on 80. Okay, so we got 80, 40, 20. That's how 20 turned out. We'll scan it again just to. So before 20 was completely flat. So 20 wants it wants the bottom part to be lower. And then so that probably means the bottom part needs to be lower, and then the other section needs to be lower also. Okay. And then probably once all the rest of that comes into play, the 15 will start to work. So it's going to be kind of tricky. I don't know. There's a guide on how to adjust these. There's manuals and all that stuff. I have the manual somewhere. But my other one is actually like pretty simple. I just like put it together based on what it looked like in the manual. This one here, I don't know. I can't remember. I just put it back together the way it looked like it came apart. Because it's like a really old one. Anyway, let's see what we can do. Alright, so I actually just pulled it down again. And I've not adjusted it, but I've leaned it up against the side of the house. What I want to do is see, does it change? And how does it change? Or are we going to get like a similar reading? Because if we get a similar reading, it shows that there's not a lot of reactance to the house. Okay, so that band still looks the same. Okay. Wait. Boy, that's freaking weird. So that might be affected by moving it. Okay. 14. Okay. And then 7. Okay. Like I said, I'm not worried about this band, but I just want to take a look. Just see what it does. So it makes it bad all the way around. So I think that the antenna being close to the house is pretty bad. And I don't think it's any worse than leaning on it as it is being a foot or two away from it. So basically I had the antenna ground mounted, and at the porch roof it's tied off. That takes off considerable strain on the antenna, but I think it's just way too close. What I'm trying to do is adjust it to get it a little closer. So what I'm really going to need is the Nano VNA at this point, or because I don't think the 7300 will let me check it out on, because I want to start with 10 and then I want to go 15. So if I go further up in 15, so I want to know if it's too short or too long. Okay, it's not going to let me look further. I can't measure it out of band, only within the band. And if the resonant point is outside of both of those spots, you'll never be able to figure out where it's at. So, I'm going to try the Nano VNA, assuming I can find all the adapters. Alright. So we got a dip right here. I don't know what we're looking at here. Can I bring this in to where I can see it a little better? Okay. So that's where it wants to match 180. And hold on. I can't see what I'm doing without pulling the camera away. That is like looking at it from 2 megahertz to 30 megahertz, and you can see all the little dips. Now, when you look at the entire band like that, it's going to be a little bit less accurate. So you get a dip right here, 4 or 5. And then we start to dip at 7.04. And we go down. And so it actually is lower at the top. So let's see, so 40 is too short, I think. Now you see where there's another dip, like what I was talking about earlier. There's a dip here, and there's a dip here. See, there's a dip at 5.6, but you see it's not as deep as the other dip. You could move one dip one way or the other by lengthening or shorting the antenna. But what you want, like for particularly 40, you want that dip in the middle of the band if you can. Not the other one. The other one will work, but it's not as good. And so basically, it's really dipping at 7.06 or 7.600, and it climbs. And it shows you the SWR if you really look at the top. So it's 2.5. Now, I found this thing to be somewhat accurate. You're going to tell where it dips and where it doesn't. You can't, like, ballpark, or you can't bank on what it says. Like, if it says 4.6 right now, it probably isn't because I looked at it on the radio. But anyway, so we have a higher SWR down low and a better one up high. So usually that means it needs to be lengthened. See, this is another dip that really probably could be moved. And then here we go, 12. And we need to move this one up. So 13.2 is basically where we want 20 to be, but it's not. So 20 is too long. But it might be okay. I always thought it was pretty good on the radio. And now we have what would be 15 meters. And it's too low. So I guess the 15 meter section is too long. And then it shows it a good match on this band, which is strange. No, I wasn't reading that. Oh, that's right. When I leaned it up against the house, it changed. So, but basically, I think 15 meters is too long. I think 20 meters is too long. And 40 is too short. So possibly by adjusting 40, all the rest of them will fix themselves. All right, let's see if it changed. Okay. 7.6. So I got 40 to move a little bit. .96. Okay. It looks like that made worse. Or maybe better, I don't know. Okay, but what I want to see is, where's 15? I don't remember where it was at before. Okay, so when I lean it back up, it's probably going to change. Now with this antenna, one section usually affects the whole damn thing. So we have a 3-to-1 at 27 something. Looks like it's pretty good. into the bottom of 10. Okay. So that'll get us into the tech portion of 10. And we should be able to tune most of it. So I'm not sure with 40. So what I did was I lowered the 15 meter trap. So the next thing I would really want to do is lower the 20 meter trap. So I'm going to lower the 20 meter trap, and I'm going to leave this sitting right here and see if it changes. So we're at 2.5 at 7.3 with the lowest for that. Okay, so it went from 2.5 something to 2.3. So now, importantly, what I need to see now is where is the other? So that went down. Okay. So we're still too low on that band. Jeez. Well, we're at 1.8 at the bottom of 20. So it's really good down below, out of the band. Well, let's see how much of the band we can get. So we can get almost the whole band under 3 to 1. Let's see what happened over here. You see, this is like really low. So you have 1.3 at 20.4. We don't really have a usable frequency on 21. Almost like 21 might be a little too short now. There's not a very deep null. Or, I mean, it's deep, it's just too sharp. It doesn't cover enough of anything. Looks like this favors CB radio better than anything. Okay. Our dip is at 2804. So 20.4. Well, I'm going to look at 40. I want to work on 40. 40 isn't a good match. And I'm going to look at the manual really quick. Okay, well, it looks like the camera stopped, or I did something stupid. Anyway, I raised the 10 meter section. It moved some other stuff around, but what I'm doing is I'm going to go and change this to what we see on the DX Engineering site. It's a copy of the manual, because I know that basically we got an influence of the house, you know, it's leaning up. So right here it says A2. I don't know why they couldn't have made this chart to where you could read it without craning your neck funny. It's 2 1/8. Ground mount with radials 0 for A1, and then 2 for the top. Okay. So they need to be 2 inches somewhere, either the top or the bottom. I don't think it really matters. Because this is A1 down here. They're not showing you that. And then A2 is right here. So 2 inches for the 10 meter section before the trap. And then we have B1. They want nothing on B1. And then B2. They want 2 inches right here. Okay. And then C1, they want nothing. And then C2, they want 1.5 inches. Now, what about this spot? They don't really show you to see this thing. Okay. D, they don't give you a gap. They just tell you it needs to be 62.1/8 inches. So it's really strange. Like, I don't know why it would matter where this thing is lengthened at. But anyway, I'm just going to follow this so that we're just keeping it simple. So I need to go put 2 inches here, 0 here, which it already is. And then, I think it is anyway. And then go back over here and give it 2. So basically we have 2 above the top of 10 under the trap. I don't know if the trap actually makes up part of the radiating part of here. I guess it must. So the end of 10 is here. So B1 will be 0. And then B2 will be 2 inches. So we have 2 inches twice. Below the 10 meter trap and below the 15 meter trap. All right, so we've got the 2 inches for B2 and A2. Everything else is 0. I noticed C1 right here was about 1/2 inch, so I'm not going to mess with it. And I think this one might be moved. I don't remember. I just wanted to check it as I was adjusting it. So it says here that we should be 1.5 inches, and then basically the rest of it, and you get the tape measure out and measure it 62.1/8 of an inch. So let's come back over to the Nano VNA and see what's changed. Okay, so let's see if anything's changed. 10 meters looks to be in the same spot. That's weird. Okay. And 15 meters is still not good. But 40 meters is looking a little bit better. Wait, was that 40? I'm sorry, 14 megahertz. 20 meters. Okay, 40s is a really weird sharp null. 7.32, 2 to 1. So 40 meter sections is probably too short now. So I'm just going to finish the rest of it and just try and get it as close. Put it up and see what it does. We'll be back. Alright, so we moved a bunch of stuff. Where are we at now? See, the dip starts. I don't know if that was where it was at before. It starts at the bottom of 40. So from the bottom of the band on up, it just goes down. But it's not a good match. That's okay. What do we got over here? Well, this is really wacky. We're not even close there. Yeah, I guess maybe. But boy, the dip is really below the band. And then, are we anywhere near 15 meters? No. Nope. Well, actually, so you see that secondary dip? That's actually going to play into it. Nope, because it's too much bandwidth. Okay, so we don't know where this is going to end up being once I move it. 10 meters is pretty much staying put. So I think, honestly, I think we're really, like, basically close enough. The only thing I could probably do is measure that top piece above the capacity hat. Let's see. But we're low, high in the band on 40. So it probably does need to go out a little further. So now we moved the 40 meter trap. Half an inch. I don't think it did anything. So, maybe a little bit. Okay, so, yeah. So it brought the beginning of the dip up to 6.7. Okay, so the lowest part is now closer to the top of the band. Okay. Let's see if it changed anything else. Still pretty screwed on this band as far as where it's landing. Like optimally, you'd rather have it a little bit further, but it's such a deep dip that it should be fine. And this one here, still not quite in the realm of the band. I'm gonna guess 15 meters is just a little long. But I honestly think that might change when I move it. So that's going to be my next trick. I'm going to try one last time on the 15 meter since I've done everything else. And 10 looks good. Okay. So there's our null. 1.4. Looks like as close as we can get. 5.9 SWR. Let's see where it moves. Alright, so I didn't change anything other than half an inch. And I noticed it changed a little bit. So I went ahead and raised the antenna back up to where it was. Now look at it. We're at 1.2 at the bottom of the band. You gotta make sure these cables are all tight. And also sometimes if you touch them, they'll change. Oh boy, look at 10 meters. God, why does this thing want to work on CB? It's flatter. Oh man. So it's too long on 10 maybe. Okay. A flat match on 27,200. So we'll have to see what it actually looks like on the radio. 10 meters is too long. And usually that's going to screw up everything else. But that 15 meters looks great. And it looks like it actually almost wants to work on 17, but I wouldn't recommend it. Oh, look at 20. So there's the top of 20. 1.7. Here's the bottom. Perfect. Okay. Top of 40. 2.6. 2.3. We don't have the best match in the world on 40, but with the dip is where it should be. Another thing too that I usually do is I put a shunt coil on these, and it's just kind of experimental. So now that we've got that, let's go shut this off. We need to recharge it. Let's see what the radio does. All right, here we are. This is what we were at before. Let's see what frequency we're on. We want to be in the middle of the band, but we can't change it until. Okay. Now we can change it. So under 3 to 1. We need to be more than 10K. Okay, so let's see what it goes up to 450. So at 450, we're 3 to 1. So it is probably too long. Still, that's okay. It's nice and low at the bottom of the band. Let's go to 10 and just see what 10 looks like. Okay. Yeah, I figured 10 would go high. Because we could see that it's basically resonating the CB band. Okay. We definitely need to correct that. Okay. I don't really think I can look at anything on 10 at this point. It's just too far out of whack. But we can tell it's low. Okay. Let's go to 14. That's what we were. 14's good as usual. I mean, maybe you could get it a little better, but I'm not going to worry about it. Now let's see what we got for 40. 40 was really bad. And 40's still bad. But it might be where the dip is. So the important thing here, let's come in here and see. Okay. If the radio will tune it anywhere. It will not. Okay, so 40 sucks. And then
I'm gonna go grab my back. I'll be right back. Same. Good to hear you, Noel. You too, Henry. And Don, whoever else is out there.
you're not going to get much. Probably won't even be able to go that far. Ooh. Let's see how far it goes. Wow. So that's about as low as it'll cover, 38.69. And I'm going to say it'll probably go right to about there. $69. Wow. It's going further than I thought. Hit exactly almost 100 kilohertz. Crazy. That's actually really good for the range of the antenna, but it's not resonant anywhere really good enough even on its own. So 40 doesn't work. Does we get a problem with 40? And 10. So let's go adjust 10. Okay, we straightened out the radios and did some other stuff. We're looking at a little bit less of a frequency. I'm looking at 3.5 to 30. So we should maybe get a little more accuracy at this point. What the hell? Jeez. Okay. So it looks like 40 might be good. 1.7 at 71210. Okay. Looks like 20 went to shit. It moved a little further than where I wanted it. But I didn't have I had the radios all coiled up. Okay. 40 and 20 might be okay. $15. It should be a little bit okay. But 10 is definitely in the toilet because it's like basically tuned for CB radio. We need to shorten that up a lot. Now it says it's 2.7 to 1. 2.7, but I'll check this thing. I'm sure it's not. Okay, that's our exact frequency. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it is that low. Let's see, it probably won't even tune it. Anyway, let's go check 40. We turn this thing off. Yeah, that's really high in the band. Good Lord. So 40 is too short, I think. Interesting. Well, we're gonna have to do a bunch more work, so I'm probably gonna do it later because I have to take the antenna down again. Roll up the radials again. But I don't think it's going to work at all on 40. Oh, it did tune. Okay, 40. So let's see. We go to the bottom of 40. Basically, I just want it to work on FT8 frequencies for the most part. That's all I really care about. As long as the radio can tune it, it means that most of the other ones should be able to. Okay, so 40 looks fine. And this band's good. And that band's good. But probably not very far up in the band, I'm thinking. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's try 350. Cool. 450. Okay, so it can tune all 15 meters. So I think what I need to do is the same thing I did with the last one. Is the shunt coil goes on there, it changes the feed point impedance, and that brings the SWR on down. So I'll make another video when I get to that. I think I have this tuned pretty close. I've done this a few times. These things are a pain in the butt because actually one of the things that can happen is you'll add more radials and your SWR actually goes up sometimes because you're increasing conductivity, you're lowering the impedance. Anyway, it's complicated. These things are a pain, but I mean, they've been making them for a really long time, so it's not rocket science. It's just kind of a little tricky. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll have another video with the shunt coil. They have one made. I just need to figure out where I put it.